it's Miss Sholes again, and we are here to read Frog on the Log so that we can look at our reading standards. So I am so glad that you are watching this video, and we will try and make it as simple as possible. So in our reading standards, it says that I can use information gained from the illustrations and words to evaluate the character's setting and plot. So while I am reading this story, you guys have so much experience with looking for the character's setting and plot. So I know that you will do that again, and then we can fill in the butterfly at the end that has those elements. Okay, here is Frog on the Log. The author is Leland Perry, so that is who wrote the words, and the illustrator is Joel Dradimi, and so that is who drew the pictures. Very weird last name. Okay, down in the woods where the river runs through by a creaky old hut and a leaky canoe. Wow, that's either character, setting, or plot. You decide. Stood a marvelous mountain of mossy old logs, which happened to house a small family of frogs. And we have our second element. Now these frogs liked to bathe in the stream in the sun and roll in the moss, which is good froggy fun, till one day the river rose up and the logs were washed down the river along with the frogs. I don't think that our frog in our resource center would like that very much. So that might be a problem. Now, frogs are good swimmers, I'm happy to say, so safely they watched their homes drifting away as they sat in a row on the bank, except one who drifted along his log in the sun. I will not abandon my home, said the frog, and he drifted along in the sun on his log. So we can see how all the other frogs are on the banks, and he is refusing to abandon his home. An hour passed by when the frog saw a dog as he drifted along in the sun on his log. It stood on the bank quietly having a drink in the shade of a tree, and it made the frog think. Kind dog, I appear to need some assistance. I have drifted downstream a considerable distance. I like how this book makes those letters bold. So these are some of our vocabulary letters. And you guys know that an hour is how many minutes? Yep, 60 minutes. And appear, what would that be? Let's think about that. I appear to need some assistance. So maybe it looks like he needs some assistance, and he has drifted downstream a considerable distance. Well, it says he has kept going and going for an hour, so considerable must be a lot. The bank by the hut, for that place I so yearn, to my friends and my family I'd gladly return. So he changed his mind. I bet that you can connect with the story and think of a time when you made a decision and then changed your mind. Small frog, said the dog, I would carry you gladly, but wood tends to splinter my mouth rather badly. So ride on my back if you like, said the dog, but you'll have to abandon your mossy old log. I will not abandon my home, said the frog, and he drifted along in the sun on his log. Another hour passed as he drifted along, alone on his log in the heat of the sun, when he happened to spy in a nearby bog the snout and two eyes of a mud-loving hog. So reading that, you can start thinking of all of the words that rhyme with frog and that we could mark with our foundations. Dear hog, I appear to need some assistance. I have drifted downstream a considerable distance. The bank by the hut, for that place I so yearn. To my friends and my family I'd gladly return. The sun was now sizzling high in the sky, and it beat down. Oops, sorry, I knew there was another one there. We need the hog still. Small frog, I've been bathing in marvelous muck. You could cling to my snout, but your log's out of luck. I'm afraid it would simply slip off, sniffed the hog. So you'll have to abandon your mossy old log. I bet you can make a prediction about what will happen next. I will not abandon my home, said the frog, and he drifted along in the sun on his log. The sun was now sizzling high in the sky, and it beat down upon the frog drifting by. Laid out his log as the river's end loomed at sharp, jagged rocks and certain frog doom. I wish I'd accepted the help of the dog or hopped on the snout of the mud-loving hog. He thought when he saw at the base of those rocks the splintered remains of some mossy old logs. So, he is once again wishing that he had made another choice. Can you connect this to any other stories that we've read? Maybe the fables we've read? They also have animals' voices, and they personify or they make the animals look like people. Some of those have regretted their decisions, haven't they? Like the dog who cried wolf, or the boy who cried wolf. But what was that bobbing along in the foam? A log that was moving away from the stone. There was no time to think, and the little frog knew it. He took a deep breath, and then he hopped right onto it. Ooh, this is a lot like another one that we saw where the monkey hopped on the alligator. So maybe you can predict what's going to happen next. How sad that I had to abandon my home, said the stubborn old frog as it smashed on the stone. Then looking about him, he saw with surprise his new mossy log came complete with two eyes. Well, what have we here? Said the stunned crocodile, and he grinned at the frog with a wide, toothy smile. You can think about what two words rhyme at the end of those sentences. A log-hopping froggy, and I have a hunch he hasn't dropped by for a spot of light lunch. The frog gave a gulp. This is worse than I feared, thought the frog on the crock, and he shed a small tear. I am done for. I've had it finito kaput. I'll never again see the bank by the hut. So kaput. Now, said the croc, stop crying this instant. I too have been swept a considerable distance. From way past the hut and the leaky canoe, I'm heading on back now. Are you coming too? What would you say to the crocodile? So upstream they traveled, the croc and the frog, and they waved as they passed by the mud-loving hog and the dog on the bank in the shade of the tree to arrive at the place where the logs used to be. Thank you so kindly for taking me home, said the frog on the croc, now no longer alone, and he hopped from the bank of the croc back of the croc to the bank. The croc waved goodbye, then his crocky heart sank. Nice frog, I appear to need some assistance. You see, I lead a rather lonely existence. My home way upriver was washed away too. So, is it okay? Can I stay here with you? What would you say? And that's how we'll leave them, the frogs and their friend. There's no better place for this story to end. A family of frogs and a crocodile too, in a crocky old hut and a croaky canoe. So they are going to let you imagine what happens. Do you notice anything in this picture? Okay, this was a longer book than I thought, so we will do Butterfly in our next episode. But be thinking about this picture, be thinking about what you notice, and also be thinking about the extra credit question of the day, which is, what have you enjoyed doing since you have been home? Okay, and I will see you later. Have a good night.